We are live.
Welcome back to the Voice Time channel. Yeah, look at the wheel.
Like it. It's good.
It's very bright.
That's okay. Not again.
Oh no.
Not again.
Oh no. Oh no.
Next time is going to be Doug Walker's The Wall.
Wow, we're back with
That
a
was from a
bang.
while ago.
We definitely weren't stalling to make this video. Our viewer marathon is done, so we're back to our main wheel. Just know that we'll be doing a couple double uploads for the next couple weeks. We got a lot of stuff coming. So we got Mitski Lush and we got another Arca record that we got to listen to yet this month. So stay tuned. We'll be doing some double uploads as well as this series, and Black Midi as well. So
Yes.
we'll get that out of the way first if anybody's wondering. I know our schedule could be confusing, but today we have maybe the worst piece of music that has come out of the last decade, or of the 2010s, I should say. Nostalgia Critic's The Wall. I think Fantoni rated this as like the second worst album of the decade in his video.
Was it under Corey Feldman?
It was under Corey Feldman.
See, this is going to be tricky because we just listened to Corey Feldman.
Yes, this is going to be a true test.
Because I guess for those who don't know, because of how we split this up, this is a double yikes. The wheel hit yikes for me twice. So we went back to back Corey Feldman to Doug Walker, The Wall. So it's pretty fresh. So we'll be
Jerry
able to
has a
say,
great wheel.
well, I don't know. That was not my doing. I wanted to listen to, I was very excited to listen to some stuff on the good part of the wheel. And instead the wheel punished me and
Yes.
did two yikes in a row. So
Yes. Well, the good thing is Corey Feldman was an hour and a half. This is 42 minutes.
yes, I'm very thankful for that.
So, very nice. I've listened to The Wall twice today to refresh myself.
Oh, okay. I listened to it
sure you
once
listened.
yesterday.
Okay. Yeah.
I forgot how good it was. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
I think it had been a couple years for me where I remember liking it, and especially that first disc is phenomenal.
Yeah, flawless.
Yes, I really enjoy The Wall. So
I think that's if it was any other band, that'd be their best record. But I have
Yeah.
3 records above that in Pink Floyd's catalog. But it's still a great album. So we'll get that out of the way first before we dig into whatever this is going to be.
yeah,
I guess you can give a little bit of a background on Doug Walker. You're probably more versed in him than I would be.
oh sure, I can do a little bit. I'm not prepared, but off the dome, Doug Walker was. Some have called him a pioneer of sorts, of especially internet based pop culture reviews. He came up around the same time as like Angry Video Game Nerd and stuff, where it was kind of popularizing nerd culture. Except his thing was the Nostalgia Critic, going back on old things that people in 2005 would have nostalgia for, and then being like, remember this? And then being really angry.
Great.
So there was a lot of comparisons with him and Angry Video Game Nerd. He's kind of stalled at them like right now, and up until this record, he stopped making Nostalgia Critic. He started a game show. There was like 8 episodes of it made, and it was like a Kickstarter thing. And then he stopped doing it. It was really, really bad. And then out of nowhere, this record comes up. Like right around when there was a lot of negative stuff happening with Channel Awesome, which was something that he founded
yeah.
with his brother and Mike Mashad, I believe his name is. So while all this is going on, he does a huge 180, makes a record, and it is regarded as one of the worst things ever. I believe that there's a video of it. It's on his YouTube channel. I believe it's mostly poking fun at the Wall movie, which I have not seen.
And then this would be The Wall.
album.
or is the whole thing the
I
movie?
believe the whole thing was originally supposed to be a criticism of The Wall, the film, which is notoriously very hard to watch, or like it's hard to seek out. So I don't know exactly who would have nostalgia for it. But all of that said, the album version of it is regarded as one of the worst things ever. So really it was a double whammy. There was a bunch of assault allegations, and then to distract from the assault allegations, he made one of the worst records of all time.
And we're going to listen to it.
We're going to listen to it.
So you don't have to.
Yes. I don't know how we're going to break this up. I suppose we'll do the first 2 songs, probably. In the Floyd and When the Wall Broke Free.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right off the bat, those drums sound so bad.
I think about everything about this is bad. Was there organs in this part of the wall?
Not that sound like this.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think that.
It sounds like you recreated it in like GarageBand with like the default instruments in it.
See, I don't know what the turnaround was. I feel like he might have just whipped this up in like a couple days or something.
Maybe.
So is okay. So is Corey Taylor going to be a running theme of this?
He might be. I don't know.
Okay.
You'll have to guess the lyrics for this one. Thank you, Spotify.
Thanks.
So maybe Corey Taylor did the instrumental part of this. I don't know.
Oh, did he?
Maybe.
I could
I don't know
see
who
that.
produced this. I have no info.
What a weird combination. How did Doug Walker and Corey Taylor get together? This man made To Boldly Flee.
Yeah.
I just want to say that he cannot criticize any piece of...
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Even what he's doing right now should not be.
Yeah.
Like...
Do you have anything to say about In the Floyd or When the Wall Broke Free?
So it sounds like a man is whining at a man who, because he made a movie and an album, that concept was too whiny, because rockstar equals rich and famous equals no problems. Maybe that's what I got out of that.
I don't know.
Because I have to pay attention to lyrics, because that's literally what he's doing, is critiquing it through it.
Yes.
But saying that the movie was like a big production and then flopped or something,
which is true.
Weird.
It is true.
Yeah, but the album that accompanies it is like one of the most well-known pieces of art.
Yeah, I feel like
you can see the movie through the album because the storyline's the same.
Yeah, I don't know how many people even know that The Wall is a movie. Like, or
I
that
feel
there
like
is
if
a
you
wall.
know the wall, you know it, but like if you're like observing it, you probably don't know.
Just like casual people probably know, more people probably know The Wall as an album and not even know that there was a Wall movie, just because, I mean, what he said is true, because I don't think it performed well at box offices, because it was animated, I think.
But why would it? Yeah, it's an animated movie to go along with an album. Like,
Yeah.
it's not required viewing to go with it. So it's a weird point to even tackle that when you're making a whole record that's like making fun of the album. It's a weird thing to even go off of at first.
Yeah. And you know, Doug Walker has made movies before. I think he has 3 movies on his belt, and those are also regarded as some of the worst movies of all time. So it's weird to have him like do these like criticisms of how subtle or not subtle The Wall is when his stuff is incredibly so bad.
But yeah. And isn't that the point of The Wall? Like, there's grotesque imagery and everything in it. Like, it's a very like jarring movie from like the shots I've seen.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of reminds me of Forbidden Planet, the French animated movie. That kind of art style where it is
Love it.
very kind of grotesque and abstract for sure. So yeah, not very many people are going to go see that when they could go see whatever new Disney flick was in the box office that day.
Yeah.
But yeah, we can
All that
just
to say, musically, that sounded horrible.
yeah, no, that was also really bad.
Yeah.
Which I feel like I might need to do some digging. How involved Corey Taylor was, because he's featured on the last song. He was mentioned in the Floyd, and he has a song right here just called Corey. That's track 3. So it kind of makes me think that Corey Taylor probably did all the production for this.
I would think. It still sounds really bad.
Which is weird. Yeah.
Well, I mean, Corey Taylor has fell off, but that's a different story.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about that. I think we're just going to do the next 3. Because Corey's 13 seconds. Yep. And then it says the song after this one is really good. So we'll see if that's true by going right into it. Which is We Need More Victimization.
Great.
Yep.
Okay. Isn't this one the one that everybody knows?
Well, I think this is another Brick in the Wall part 1, right?
Oh, and then the next one's gonna be part 2. It's the same thing.
It's the same thing, yeah.
Coming up, you will hear the best song in the wall.
That's not even true.
But first you must listen to this really long wall.
Has Dog Walker consumed music before?
Not publicly.
Because he talked about it? Okay. I'm interested to like just dissect his what his thought process is in general.
I have no idea. I know he talks about TV shows and movies. I thought that was the extent of his criticism.
Unfortunately not.
But yeah.
I get what he's doing, but like you don't need to do it to this extent.
And he's just making fun of
He's just making fun of how it takes so long to get to the Brick in the Wall part 2, except the track that merges the two is literally 1 minute and 50 seconds.
Yeah. Also, it's just nice to like go on the ride.
It perfectly sets up. Listen to Swan's records, Doug Walker. You don't know who you're dealing with. This is nothing to me.
I'm doing some digging on his wiki. It's debated on whether or not he's even listened to the album before.
That's a good point.
Some people have made claims that he just looked at the Wikipedia page for the movie and then did a parody of, like, just wrote lyrics.
I could see that.
I could see it too.
LOL, so school sucks. Grow a damn pair of balls.
This sucks.
Yeah.
I need to know, is Doug Walker like an ultra conservative?
He gives major Gamergate vibes, which wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, that's kind of the vibe I'm getting from this song.
He also grew up in that era of YouTube, and it looks like he's kind of a person that wouldn't leave it. So
yeah, it's weird because you look at like Angry Video Game Nerd now, and he is vastly different than he was in 2005. Nostalgia Critic is exactly the same, and he's still acting like it is 2005.
yeah. Here, Doug Walker completely misses the point of the song.
This is the point.
And he watched the movie where that puts the song into context.
Yeah,
So
I don't know how you can miss the mark this bad.
yeah,
How can you listen to especially this song and be like, they're just bitching?
Yeah,
It's like,
I don't know.
what? What are you talking about? That was Corey. The song after this one is really good, and we need more victimization.
Yeah, this really is the worst thing. It's weird because he's like trying to prove a point to people through his critique, but he didn't even really get the context of anything in the record.
No.
Like, anybody who's listened to this album or like most albums understands that pacing wise you can't just like go from hit to hit to hit, especially with The Wall. When it's like a rock opera, it goes through like all these twists and turns,
Well, it's a concept.
which made it
like,
really
Yeah.
it's kind of like a revolutionary sound too, in the way that the concept flows throughout the record. So thinking that like the track between I keep having to flip between The Wall and this one. Like the Happiest Days of Our Lives, like that is a perfect interlude between part 1 and part 2 to merge them instead of just going one into the other.
Yeah.
And trying to prove that by making the song 4.5 minutes of just the instrumental. Like, have you ever listened to an album that's 1:50? Like that goes by extremely quickly. On a record that's 1:20, that is nothing.
Yeah.
And it sounds good and it fits. It's not like it's like there to be like, oh, you gotta wait before you get to the big song. Doug Walker's the kind of guy to hit shuffle on an album.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of get what he's going at. And if it was any other record, I would actually think it would be kind of funny as someone who doesn't really like long songs. But
it's 1:50 seconds.
But it's 1:50 seconds. And like, I don't know. Honestly, as I was listening to The Wall, like I was not bored at all.
There's no point where the record is stale or
No.
repetitive.
No.
It goes between all these different twists and turns throughout the entire length of 2 discs. And yeah. And then just the We Need More Victimization, criticizing Another Brick in the Wall Part 2. Where that song is about the main character's like response to being abused verbally and physically by teachers in the schooling system. And he took that as, wow, what a straight statement that school is bad, which is so completely off the mark for someone who's watched the film and apparently has listened to the album. I can't confirm or deny that he's even heard the thing.
Yeah.
But even when I was listening to it, like at work, half listening, I understood that. I'm like, okay, it's not just a base level thing. Like this is a concept record and it's flowing through the concept.
Yeah. It would.
I don't know how you're this off the mark.
I don't even know how you can make that argument. It would be like saying like you're listening to Good Kid, Mad City, and he's just being like, "Oh, he's just grow up,
Yeah,
grow up,
exactly.
you coward." It's like, well, he's like kind of pointing out different things that are going on.
He's the kind of dude where it's like when you point out something bad about America, he's like, "Go live somewhere else, Dick." There's like no nuance or anything there. So that was a chore to get through. Ow.
Yeah, this is. Should have just kept it with the guitar. It was fine. When it
Yeah.
was just the guitar.
Is World War II with monsters too silly?
Has this guy watched a movie? This is basic symbolism.
This does go towards the point that maybe he's never seen it, and he just like looked at some images of it.
This
or
is just
something.
like basic plot or like any analysis of any kind.
This is the guy who, instead of making actual criticism of movies, was just like, "Remember when this happened? Wow, that was so awesome."
Dude, I don't know what to think while watching that.
Good. That means we're brilliant. Now I'm gonna go do a slow mopey song. Haven't we had enough of those? Yeah, but we have had several of them.
Okay, shut up. That was So Long, weird song.
That is by far the worst song. Doug Walker fails to realize basic symbolism of World War II with monsters, which is just symbolizing that war is like terrible. It's not saying that World War II has monsters included with it. I think anybody could realize that. But then he goes to kind of disrespect Roger Waters' father, who died in World War II, and that's what the song is about. By saying, war's bad, thanks, are we supposed to weep? And then saying that we're going to go into a mopey song next. Like, should you just shrug off that your father died in World War II? Should we not dive into this as the next step in putting bricks into the wall and the narrative that's going on?
Well, and then there's that character that says, haven't we had enough of those? It's like, this is, it's leaving me speechless, honestly.
As someone who's never watched a nostalgia critic video, I'm pretty glad I've never gone anywhere near that, to be honest. I feel like this guy just, he has to be doing it on purpose. Nobody's this stupid. That's why I said before we started recording, I'm like, this is going to be worse than Corey Feldman. Corey Feldman's tried something original. He failed at every step, but it was entertaining, and he tried.
I don't know
I
if
might
I
have
can
given it a 2 out of 100, but he tried, and it was something from his mind. No.
Yeah, this is like, as a tonally, it's way worse than Corey Feldman.
Yes.
I don't know. I can't
This
say.
is so much worse.
I think like musically it's just fine. Like there's like moments where it's like, oh, that was bad. Or like it just feels cheap. And like when you're doing The Wall, which has like some just phenomenal arrangements, it just kind of spits in the face of it musically. But I can't say that it's worse musically than Corey Feldman, because that is probably the worst thing I've ever heard. Even though it's original,
It was more entertaining to me. This is bland and stupid and lazy and just should not have been made.
At least this keeps me on the edge of my seat, because I'm like, what is he going to say next? Well, I just as like, what can he possibly say next? I'm invested. I'm angry, but at least I'm feeling something. Corey Feldman left me drained and dead. This one, at least I'm feeling something, which is it's not a good thing, but we'll move on to the forgotten song. And is there anybody who cares?
The film sad but true. Or even in the review.
If the song completely ended right there and it started doing another song, that would have been funny.
True.
Add me to the queue, folks are
Just
No,
saying.
but it's 4 minutes.
No, like honestly, if it said sad but true, or even in the review, completely cut, and then just go to the next song, that's a funny joke if it was cut from the movie. But
Yeah.
couldn't even get that right. This is such a nothing song.
Yep.
Because who cares? It's like this is such a it's a criticism
No,
that
that's
doesn't
the
even
next
matter. Oh, that's true. That is true. But I mean,
All
like,
of his criticisms are pointless.
no, but this one's the most pointless.
Yeah,
Where it's
yeah,
like,
it
just
doesn't
because it
keep
wasn't
it.
in the movie, you're gonna make a 4-minute song about that? This is crazy. Should we just keep going to Comfortably Numb?
No.
Okay.
I don't want to sit through 6.5 minutes. I gotta break it up. We've heard Comfortably Dumb, by the way, and it's possibly the worst thing I've ever heard.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's so strange how he needed to make a 4.5 minute trek just basing off like, hey, this hit song wasn't in this movie.
Yeah.
Again, has he seen a movie? Like, you don't just, for a soundtrack, you don't just take the biggest hits off of any given source material and just shove them in.
Yeah.
Like, that's not going to flow with everything, especially with The Wall when there's so many songs that are so instrumentally like rich, like that would go better with a piece of visuals instead of whatever else. It was weird. And then is there anybody who cares? which the best part of your record right now is just like your producer recreating the song and putting somewhat care into it to make it sound decent.
Yeah.
And then just contrasting that with like, is there anybody who cares? And like, this is a good instrumental. Like,
Yeah.
do you not enjoy the music side of it? Because like, the best part of the wall like is the arrangement and the variety of different tracks that you get. So
Yeah.
I don't understand what he's even going at there.
I have no idea. But that was probably my favorite song so far.
Yeah, he
Mainly-
didn't talk a lot, and the producer did a decent job of recreating. So
Yeah. I was like, oh, the guitar's nice, but that's not going to last. But we can move on to, we'll probably just do Comfortably Dumb. I'm sure we're going to have stuff to say about it. And it's super long, so
this might be longer than the actual song.
I feel like it is. I didn't think Comfortably Numb is 6.5 minutes.
6:22.
Oh, okay. Shows that I am dumb. But let's move on. Comfortably Dumb.
God, that synth is so cheap.
I know.
Oh. Oh, that
Are you still awake in
that tone is so bad.
I know.
Just a lot of slow songs now. It's hard
You can't criticize the song,
No.
the sound of this song. That's crazy.
Doug Walker just must constantly listen to hyperpop all the time. If he's just like
No, I
bored by
wouldn't
the
even give him
wall.
hyperpop. Hyperpop's for cool people. This dude listens to like soundtrack OSTs.
Oh, come on. I don't know if Corey Taylor did the instrumentals here, but shame
No,
on-
I think Rob Scallon did.
oh.
He did the whole thing, I think.
I'm still going
Not
to
his best work.
I'm still going to blame Corey Taylor because he was in the
Good.
review. I believe he played the main character in the review,
Oh, okay.
so that's awesome.
I don't know how you hear Comfortably Numb and this is your first thought. Just to, like,
too
that
long."
was a little too long. I didn't get it.
Especially coming from me, the guy who thinks
Things
that
are
every single song is
yeah.
too long.
Things are subjective to a point, but if you don't like feel something during Comfortably Numb, I don't believe you're a human being.
No. Or at least one that listens to music at all.
I just want to note when he's like going on about whatever this is, on Album of the Year, this album has 422 ratings. It has an average of 3 out of 100.
All right. That was Comfortably Dumb.
Yeah. That was bad. That was probably the worst instrumental that's on the record. They just absolutely butchered the chorus, especially. Like,
Yeah.
all the nuance there was just stripped back for like this cheap organ synth in the background. And then just the whole like, oh, this song goes on too long. I don't really get it. Why are you complaining? You have money. While completely missing the fact of the entire storyline so far of boxing himself in this wall through like his past trauma through school and his father dying in World War II and all that. But he's like, nah, I'm gonna ignore that.
I don't think he knew. I don't know if he...
I don't know how he doesn't know after watching the movie. I haven't seen the movie and I know all this.
I have no idea.
Even if you read the Wikipedia page, you would know this. It's like the first, like, you could do a paragraph synopsis. Like, he could read that and get more info than what he's presenting here. So, I'm going to say.
Okay.
What's next?
We got In the Floyd again, and... I
Do
don't know.
3, 4.
Yeah, I was
Do
going to
4.
say, we got like so many.
Speedrun.
So we got In the Floyd again, Waiting for the Point, Bring the Runtime Down, and The Deeper Meaning.
This one sounds really bad, too.
Yeah. I mean, you could say that about all these, really.
Yeah, but it hasn't been noticeable until the past 2, where it's like really, really bad.
That's true.
I just feel nothing at this point.
Yeah. Was that the song that they were parodying with like the Get the Jews and like all the race
Yeah,
stuff? Okay.
the actual meaning of that song is like he's so far gone that he's picturing himself as a fascist dictator when he's doing a concert, and that the people in the crowd are like, you know, following him. And he took that as like, oh, government bad. Which, yes, Margaret Thatcher is a fascist, but that's not the point that he was trying to make
No,
there.
no. And now he's talking about social media,
Yeah, I don't know.
which this just seems like a tangent. This wasn't even a thing in the
Yeah,
70s.
I feel like his ego's bigger than Roger Waters, and that takes a lot, actually. So,
that is possible. Is this a response to the assault allegation stuff?
no. I mean, it could be. I don't know.
This song could be Doug Walker expressing how much he dislikes cancel culture. However, it is more likely a response to the criticism that he faces.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's that.
That's a
That's really
bad
bad.
take.
That's really bad.
That's bad.
That might be the worst part.
So the movie, I believe, is an hour 35. That is very tame
Yeah.
when it comes to movie runtimes. Like, there are so many more movies that are way longer than that. That is a weird criticism to have. Here, Doug Walker is talking about how pretentious and slow the film is, despite the film being only an hour and 25-minute long and the album being only 80. Ironically, Walker's independent film To Boldly Flee sits at a runtime of 3 hours and 28 minutes. All right, let's discuss before Fenna's The Trial and then SpongeBob theme. That was in the Floyd, Waiting for the Point, Bring the Runtime Down, and The Deeper Meaning.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like he's actually embodying the character of the wall here, just becoming more and more disconnected with reality as he goes on, with his ego continuing to grow.
Yes.
Which is strange. Maybe he understands the wall deeper than we think.
You know, maybe.
Battery's just so far gone that he doesn't realize any of it.
Is this all
yeah.
just in character as the nostalgia critic?
I don't know. It doesn't seem
Hard
like
to
it.
say.
It seems really unhinged and
And-
weird, and there's no valid criticisms across any of this. And even the songs that he's trying to like criticize the meanings of are just so far off.
Yes. Especially that Twitter rant, cancel
Yeah.
culture rant. I haven't really looked into all the Channel Awesome things. I know that there was some sexual allegations being thrown. I do not believe that Doug Walker was one of the ones that was accused. I believe it was his business partner. But I know that there were a lot of allegations levied towards Doug Walker and Rob Walker on the sets of To Boldly Flee, among their other many films that they made. Very bad working conditions and mistreatment of the female stars,
That's crazy.
which I know, very hard to believe.
That's crazy.
But yeah, that was a little bit weird. That doesn't have anything to do with the
No,
movie.
I
So
feel
stay
like
on
that's
topic.
His ego getting in the way. His ego's grown a lot, which is weird, considering Roger Waters is the person who wrote most of this album.
Yeah, he couldn't just make an album.
It's a
And
little strange.
I mean, it would have been like that Kid Rock record that just came out, but like he should have just made a record. Like he had to piggyback off the success of The Wall just to complain about cancel culture.
I think he ran out of criticism, so he's like, "Oh, I still got to fill some spots here."
When his record is like half as long as The Wall is already, he was running out of stuff to talk about,
Yeah.
which is kind of crazy, but fine, I guess. Let's just finish this with Fenna's The Trial and SpongeBob theme with Corey Taylor.
Is this an entire 5.5 minute song about how the animation isn't consistent?
I don't know. I looked up Fenna. It's a YouTube channel. They do, I believe this is stop motion animation. And they did this part of the review.
Oh,
And these are all different characters that they do on their channel.
great.
No, you're not, Doug.
No, that was actually the best song on the record.
It's just a cover of the SpongeBob theme by the one, the only Corey Taylor. Let's talk about this, the Fenna's The Trial, and I guess the record as a whole.
Do I have to?
Not necessarily. We can just stop the
Again,
video.
they just made a trial 5.5 minutes for something that doesn't matter. It's like animation style instead of like looking at. They're just like, oh, monsters are cool. They should show more into monsters, and then just like completely forget any of the actual story going on.
Yeah.
Which is really just childish in a way that's like, are you even watching the thing that you're viewing, or are you just like looking to pick it apart without like even trying? I mean, he actually gave a review of it where he says it's a little full of itself, but good music and imagination. That was the only part where he actually was like, hey, yeah, I think this was a pretty decent piece of work. And then just made this record out of just complete, like, let's get some clout out of this or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. Because this is so horrifically off base that I refuse to believe that he just doesn't know these things, especially after reviewing movies or whatever he does. You'd have to be completely blind or have not seen the material to like be this off base consistently throughout the whole thing. Yeah, this is worse than Corey Feldman. I'm live rating this as a 0 out of 100.
I think that's fair.
That was painful. It didn't go on as long as Corey Feldman, and it didn't drain me as much, but it made me question things, you know?
Definitely made me
This-
more
this is just
angry. Corey Feldman didn't make me angry. Corey was like, okay, well,
Corey's got a quirk to him that I really appreciate. Even though the music's bad, it's in like a way where it's like, hey, this is like kind of funny.
yeah.
In a way that I'm still entertained. This was just, it didn't need to exist and it shouldn't exist. And this is not made with a good intention as a critique, or any of that. So this is probably the worst thing. Well, this is the worst thing I've heard on my account now. So
Okay.
I would say that's accurate.
I would also, yeah. I don't know where this stands with Corey, because I think Corey's probably the worst music I've ever heard, but this is the worst album I've ever heard, if that makes
Yep.
sense. But, man, that was way worse than I thought it was going to be. We can move on. We'll spin the
Yeah.
wheel.
Yeah, we already spun the wheel. Spotify broke halfway through this, so we took a little break and spun the wheel for next week. So if we look a little bit more, full of life in this next clip, just know that's why.
Yeah, the ending of that record kind of made it for me as one of the worst things I've ever heard. Wheel.
We're not done with the album yet. Just for context, Spotify crashed halfway through the album and we're unable to do a listening party. So we're doing the wheel now. I'm glad that Spotify's crashed during this garbage fire of an album.
Yes.
But we're back.
We're back.
This is just our standard wheel. We have a list of albums that we have in a Google Doc that fall under these 4 categories. So this is my wheel. So whatever it falls under, I get to pick an album under my category.
I
simple.
hope it's a yikes.
I hope so. Looks like it's a meh.
A meh. Haven't gotten one of those in a while.
True. All right. Decisions. Except there are no decisions. We're doing snail mail lush.
Oh, okay. That sounds good to me.
Next time, snail mail lush 2019, I think.
I don't know.
2018. Okay, this was the one that the indie classic. I think.
Oh.
I've listened to Valentine. I haven't listened to this one. It's been killing me. So we're finally listening to it next week.
Okay. That sounds good to me. What a good wheel.
What a great wheel. Next week we're doing snail mail's lush. Finally, I've been waiting for this thing.
As
So
well
stay
as
tuned
Lush
for
by
that.
Mitski.
As well as lush. That's true.
Wouldn't
Oh,
that
wait,
be
that's-
funny if we do both of those on the same week?
That's crazy. I didn't think about that. All right, we got 2 Lush reactions coming up. Snail Mail first, and Mitski later this month. We also got Arca Cake 2 coming later this month. We also got a Black Midi first reaction coming this month. So we're putting in extra hours for this month because there's a lot of stuff going on.
That's right.
But honestly, I'm definitely okay with that after hearing this. Like, we have real music coming back.
Yeah. This has kind of been hanging over our heads for like the
It
past
has.
couple
I
months.
feel like a weight's been taken off my shoulders. So
Yeah.
we're back in the driver's seat.
That's right.
So, if you're still watching this far, don't know why, but thank you,
Subscribe if you want more Doug Walker content.
because we won't make any.
If he
But you
makes
can always
another
stream.
album, I might add it to my list, depending on how bad it is.
Depending on what it is of. it's
Depending on what it is. I'm waiting. It's been 3 years. He's due to drop soon. We'll see. I hope he picks apart Revolver. That would be great.
That would be really fun.
So yeah, if you want to listen to us not be angry at Doug Walker, we do a podcast. The music part of our podcast is already put on this channel. But if you're interested in hearing our movie, TV show, and gaming takes, then our second channel or on Spotify, all of the major podcast places you can find us. Well, yeah, that's all of our plugs. So that's how Doug Walker is.
Bro fist. Yeah.
Yeah.